One Piece isn't wrapping up anytime soon, but contrary to what its hardest core fans want to believe, one day it will end. Since we're officially in the final saga now, that's got me thinking about what exactly I would like to see by the end of the series. I'm going to avoid the obvious plot points, like learning what the One Piece is, or info about the Void Century, or seeing Imu's face, stuff like that. This video is about more random things that, while not vital to the story, will make me a bit disappointed if they aren't shown by the end of the series. There's no need to worry about spoilers past the anime. Number 1. Buggy's reconciliation with Shanks. This isn't something that's necessarily been hinted at, but as their relationship has been more fleshed out over the years, I think it's an inevitability at this point, and I want to see it. I want some bro-on-bro, reunited love fest going down as part of an entire arc, or something that's central to the climactic action of an arc. It's hard to describe Buggy's life as a failure, seeing as how he's the most powerful pirate on the seas. But he lacks real kinship with those around him, and I think it would be a sweet ending to finally have him reconcile with someone who knows him from way back. I want to cry when they hug, and I want it to be a big deal. I don't want it to be revealed in some kind of epilogue, SBS, or anything. The mending of that relationship should be at the forefront of the story. Number 2. I want to see the final feast party of the series taking place in the middle of the All Blue. I have no idea what the All Blue even is, everyone has their theories, but let's assume it's found or created by the climax of the story. This would be the perfect setting for one last hurrah, especially if it's curated by either Baratier or a ship restaurant Sanji operates. Of all the massive feasts and epic parties throughout the series, Baratier, the sea restaurant of all places, never had the chance to host one. Was this a missed opportunity? Or was it Oda holding out for something even grander? Maybe Oda didn't want the visual of the Straw Hats partying over the sea so early on. After all, it would make much more sense and feel much more satisfying to wait for them to become masters of the sea before boldly throwing a victory celebration on top of it. Plus, what better time to host such a spectacle than at the end of this epic odyssey with what would be a hijinks-filled, multi-fleet insane feast filled with nearly every crew we've encountered celebrating together. I think that would be a really nice farewell. Number 3. For the longest time, I thought One Piece had to end with Luffy dying. That seemed to be the direction things were heading based on how hard he was pushing himself in the Enies Lobby to Marineford era, but now, I'm not so sure about that. It would fit with the repetition of history, Luffy equals Roger and all that, but Luffy and his generation are also all about breaking the gears. Not everything repeats, it more so rhymes. Plus, in a story that is so averse to on-screen death, I just cannot see One Piece ending with smiling, happy, sun god, breaker of chains Luffy dying. So, what I want to see is a time skip by the end, similar to Dragon Ball's 10-year epilogue. I think it would be a nice send-off to characters we've come to love to get the smallest glimpse of their future lives. 10 years, or maybe even 20 years into the future. Who has settled down? Where does everyone live? What does everyone do? Oda's already got plenty of designs for the older Straw Hats, and I think it would be really fun to see them within the story. Also, a large part of the narrative of One Piece is about time, especially generations. It would be wonderful to see how the next generation was shaped by the actions of the Straw Hat Pirates. Do the Straw Hats kick off a new golden age of piracy, or is the world entirely different? We've got to see at least a taste of what things are like in the future. Number 4. Ainu needs to get destroyed. Luffy has a lot of long built-up showdowns that will come to pass in the near future. It's a toss-up who his number 1 baddie to take down is. Is it Ainu or Blackbeard? Thematically, I'd say Blackbeard, since Oda has taken the time to craft a clear distinction between the two all the way back since Jaya, but even more than Blackbeard, I just want to see Ainu's smug face get punched in over and over again. When I say Ainu needs to be destroyed, I don't mean just physically. I want his entire worldview to be shattered. I want him to realize what a complete douchebag he's been. Then, I want to see him get gum-gum-gaddled into the Earth's core, where he can think about what a nasty shit he's been amongst the rest of the magma. But I don't think he should be killed. Despite how much I despise him, he's doing what he thinks is right and just. I don't think he's beyond redemption. Maybe I'm just being naive, but I think he could actually switch sides by the end, depending on how desperate and brutal Imu gets. Blackbeard, on the other hand, he is darkness incarnate, and if there is one character who needs to be squashed to usher in a new world, it's him. Number 5. Fairly random, but I need to know what those creatures in the Florian Triangle were. I've never been more terrified in this series than when the crew first encountered the Shadow Giants in the Jaya arc. Seeing a crew of arrogant and naive boobs uncharacteristically reacting genuinely horrified and fleeing for their lives is something that has never been repeated in the series, and for good reason. This is some Lovecraftian level horror. But of course, those turned out to be shadows from the Skypians, which retroactively kind of ruins the moment, although the payoff was satisfying regardless. However, Oda must love scary shadow creatures, because only a few arcs later, we'd see a similar type of mysterious monster during the Thriller Bark arc. This time, they really do seem to be more than just shadows from the clouds. So what the hell are they? Could they be more massive beasts like Zoe? Are they the Yeti cool brothers, cool older brothers? I have no idea, but I need to find out. Number 6. Zoro and Sanji kiss. Whoa, oh, oops, typo there. I meant Gold Roger's backstory. The youngest version of Roger we've seen is this strapping young man in a straw hat approaching a young Rayleigh to set out to sea. We know the gist of what happened next, but what happened before? Where did he get that straw hat? What led him to seek the sea? I think it's more than likely we'll get this backstory, at least through some history of the straw hat. His origin may not be critical to understanding the foundations of the One Piece world. You could always assume he had a similar motivation to seek the sea as Luffy, since they apparently share the same mysterious dream, but I think it would be fun to see regardless, especially since we know that Roger was from Logtown. So, his interactions with the world government at a young age could be very informative in shaping our perception of the society his generation grew up in. Number 7. I want to know where the hell Mihawk grew up. Does he come from a society of vampire-ass dudes? Is this just the style he's chosen for himself? Was his daddy named Nosferatu? We have never seen someone like Mihawk elsewhere in the world. He's gotta be from somewhere, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was some vampire-esque society, which is why he feels at home on Gloom Island. But also, I just have to know more about this swordsman. We know he has some history with Shanks, but that relationship seems to have developed after Shanks' time with Roger. Similar to Roger's backstory, I want to know what drove Mihawk out to sea and to become the world's greatest swordsman. Who was the greatest swordsman before him? Was he trained by him, or did he seek him out and defeat him? Mihawk is a character defined by the mysteries around him, and while fleshing him out risks ruining his air of mystique, I'm confident in Oda's ability to pull it off. Number 8. I want to see a full map of the world. This may be my most unreasonable request yet, but it's obvious the Straw Hat crew won't be visiting every culture in every nook and cranny of this universe, at least not within the confines of this story. But I want to see it all! There are plenty of fan maps out there, most of which covering the Grand Line, but I want the whole world. I want to know the different kingdoms of the North, South, West, and East Blue. I want a thorough documentation of the Sea of Rookies and the New World. I'm extremely selfish, since this is an impossible ask, but is it? One of the core character's dreams is to make a map of the whole world. Presumably, she will achieve that dream. So, we should get to see it! This doesn't have to be in the story proper, but after One Piece is done, I think it would be a real treat if Oda released Nami's map as some kind of special extra piece of info. Could you imagine how many people would buy that just to hang it up in their homes? Number 9. A Big Mama transponder snail. If these guys are just natural animals like Oda has said, they gotta have a mama. I want to see a 30-foot tall snail. I want to watch a giant use it. There. That's it, okay? I don't need any answers about them. I don't need anything more than the visual of a giant mama transponder snail with lipstick. That is all. Now what about you? What do you got? I know you have some random little things you'd love to see by the end of the series. Please let me know about them in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and until the next time, I'll shut up.